So this is the first time I'll be doing a podcast in the actual podcast room.
Looks great.
Julie is joining me from Florida. We're going to record a freestyle license to spill episode,
Yes.
which means we did not prepare
a thing.
for today's. We wanted to try this out and see how it felt to do.
I am visiting New York, do some work things. And just a few weeks ago, I was sent a major health curveball, would you say?
Yes, about a year ago, I would say Julie came up to explore what Limitless had to offer. And during your birthday visit, you tested out a bunch of providers that were here. And one of the providers was performing a massage, a lymphatic drainage massage, and she felt this weird knot in the back of Julie's neck. So, on the side of her neck. And I would say there was a lot of different things that happened from that moment forward that could have explained that. There was like a swollen lymph node, there was a dental issue, there was a bunch of other things that happened health-wise that kind of distracted you from exploring that specifically.
Yes. And it was also really small at the time.
Yes.
A year ago.
It was like the size of a dime.
And asked other physicians in other
disciplines?
Yeah, thank you. In other disciplines just to feel my neck area. And upon palpation, nobody felt anything.
Nobody had anything to say. Nobody shared anything. Nobody had any concerns except for the massage therapist that works here.
Yes, she is. It was probably, no joke, the best massage I have ever had.
That would be Tara from Empowered Spirits Therapies, who's here with us. She does a ton of different things, lymphatic drainage, massage, Reiki. But anyway, we're digressing. So basically, Julie had a series of events occur. This thing on the side of her neck grew. And I would say a few months ago, you had it biopsied. And it came back negative.
Benign for cancer.
Came
back as just cysts that were filled with fluid. Got a lot of different things thrown at me as to what this was.
But all benign. It's important to mention
everything was benign.
Yes.
They even did this new blood test that's been around for 4 years, and it checks for a certain cancer if you're over 50 or something like that, and came back negative. So I felt such relief that nothing was malignant.
And they even tested the fluid that was in it. They drained it and they tested the fluid that was inside of this. And that was also like negative for anything. Yeah. And so I would say every single test that Julie could have done with the professionals that were available all came back with, we just have to remove it. That would drain the cyst. They basically made it sound like it was a snowman hugging your lymph node. Sorry, it was 2 cysts hugging the lymph node, making a snowman. So like a small circle, middle circle, larger circle.
On its side, right. Snowman kicked over.
Yeah, over. So long story short, about 2 weeks ago, Julie called me and said
I got a phone call from my surgeon, and I was we were waiting on the pathology, but relatively certain. Guess you see where we're going with this. But I got a call from my physician, and she said, "Julia, I'm really sorry to tell you this,
I'm surprised."
Yeah, and surprised that your pathology from these cysts is papillary thyroid cancer." And I think I froze hearing cancer.
Yeah, I would say that you sounded pretty frozen when you called me on the phone.
My heart was racing, and I felt like it was someone else that she was talking to.
Yeah. I think a lot of our listeners would probably relate to that when they've received bad news.
And here we are building this incredible business together and excited about so many different things. And then whoop,
and Julie taps out.
I would thrown a curveball.
Yeah, thrown a curveball. Julie doesn't normally call me in the middle of the day. Like, it's not a thing we do. We text more often just because of our career doesn't allot for a lot of phone time because of what we do for a living. So the fastest way to get in touch with each other is texting, which isn't always the best. But this time she called me and I knew something was up because she doesn't usually call in the middle of the day. So I answered right away and she told me and I was like, I didn't believe you. I said, are you effing around with me? Like that doesn't make any sense to me because I was with her for this entire journey, the tests, the draining of the cysts, the biopsy, all of it. And so they all sounded really confident in these appointments and they all said, no, we don't have any concerns. And it was just so out of left field. And so not that you would joke about something like that, but I didn't know how to process the information that she gave me on the phone. So fast forward now, she will be undergoing a thyroidectomy and will be treated for this slow growing, very treatable cancer. But there's a couple of other things at play that have made it not a direct line from A to B?
Because, and we don't have to get into all the medical jargon right now, but because it had metastasized to the left part of my neck.
The opposite side, right? Of where, like,
No, the left neck was where the lump or mass was.
I meant more of like your thyroid's here,
Yeah, thyroid's in the center. And because
and there was
it had
something on the
meted
side.
over here, that
Made it atypical thyroid cancer, according to what you explained to me.
and so they have to do what's called a left neck dissection, which just sounds like one of the worst things. So thyroidectomy and left neck dissection, which just means they take out up to 20 lymph nodes that, may have some malignancy on them.
Well, which we're hoping that it doesn't, but we'll figure it out. And the point of us sharing this information with you is not just, for the informative piece of why Julie wasn't with me last episode and why she may not be with me every single time I record. It's more of how someone endures having something thrown out of left field, or how someone in our field holding space for people has to pivot and rely on a community that I don't know if you were necessarily prepared to rely on.
Community,
Like
friends and family.
Yeah, a
and
combination of friends and family at Limitless and Root and Rise, and everybody that has found out has
been so generous.
and has gone above and beyond to reach out. Limitless turns 1 tomorrow. Root and Rise is 6 months old. Julie's been my best friend for over a decade, but the people that are here at Limitless with me haven't had the luxury of knowing her for as long as I have had. But you would
That's
think
nice.
think that they have known you because they feel very, very loving and attached to you in a way, which is funny to me because you really do primarily work from Florida. But whenever I'm lucky enough to get her up here in the office, people surround her like what I kept telling you to expect was like, it's going to feel like a warm embrace when you get here because people can't wait to see you. So that's what I mean by unexpected community.
Thank you for clarifying. I mean, we can talk up a place, but you have to be here to experience the authenticity of the warmth of people who have met me a few times.
Handful of times. I think I talk about her enough that you must feel like a presence here, because my business model revolves around connection. We keep things very human centered. We keep things very personal and
Real.
I would say real. I couldn't think of another word to describe it, but I was going to say like curated, but real works too. And I think because I talk about you so much and our business model is so jointed together, like we represent together, we usually, we make content together, we record things together, we present together. Like every time I introduce the business or network, I include her, even if she's not physically with me. So I feel like people just kind of got used to, I come with a second part of me that's like not always here, like a mirage. So when you came in, there's so many people that'll be here on Wednesday to embrace you literally and figuratively. But I think the unexpected community is me and your family, working together and then the external support that you're now experiencing. But
I know my family and friends love me, but to feel them like rise up and actually get involved in what I'm about to endure, really like stand up for me, making phone calls, trying to figure out insurance, just change. It has been
just even the insurance piece of trying to find something good that would happen through Limitless connections through who knows who and who could help us with what we needed. And there was like so many degrees of separation before we had a solution in like a very short, small window.
Before Kevin Bacon called 6 degrees.
Yes, exactly. And it's just been such a whirlwind of 4 weeks. It's only been 4 weeks. So a whirlwind of 4 weeks.
I already had one neck surgery. That's why I've got my scarf on today.
Yeah, she has had one. And it's just, as business owners, there's been a lot of preparation around what we might need to brace for regarding managing any overflow that Julie might not be able. We don't really know exactly what you'll be able to do, but to err on the side of caution, like how we have been approaching that as a unit is to try to prepare as best as possible each caseload and any overflow that might need to be supported if you have to take some time off. We're being told a mixture of things as far as your recovery time. So just to prepare the practice that's still in its infancy for whatever turbulence might be there. This is her livelihood. This is her career. Being able to have a voice is extremely important. It's
a literal voice.
Yes, a literal.
Not the voice that we talk about in therapy, right?
Right.
You need to speak up and have your voice.
A literal voice, yeah. And there's so many things that I think can be associated with thyroid issues, not just cancer, but thyroid issues as
Hormones and
hormones. And so from the physical side of things to the emotional side of things, thyroids can be connected to so many different versions of voice and versions of empowerment and how we handle resentment, how we handle anger. There's so many different things that can play out in our bodies, which is another thing that we teach in our therapy of how to take care of yourself and things that I think you've had to return to.
for sure helps me really relate to clients in a deeper level, knowing that they've gone through similar things or have family members who've gone through similar things. And it's hard to articulate what it does for me. And I'm learning.
What are you learning?
I don't know yet.
If I had to throw in some observations that I'm seeing Julie having to learn, being a lifelong vegetarian, being somebody who doesn't prioritize food, um, you know, she
That's a whole other podcast, my
it
friend.
is a whole other podcast, but just like you're returning back to basics, you're returning back to things that maybe you have put off to the side because of your own life changes and things that
Sure.
have, not just.
As many of us do.
And I'm such an Italian grandma that I'm chasing my friends with food. I'm always, you've got to eat, you've got to eat. She'll tell you I
And
chase
it's
her all the
like
time.
5 p.m. and I haven't had anything to eat yet today.
Right, exactly. So to reprogram your
Just
body,
terrible.
to reprogram your body to give you those alerts to tell you that you're not getting the signals that you need. And I think that Julie, what I'm observing is you're starting to consider what you need to return back to that you didn't necessarily have a foundation for already. Now you have to relearn because you intellectually you understand it, but you've
Course.
never practiced it regularly enough to have it become natural to you. So I think
Right.
there's certain things that I think you'll be returning to in the sense of establishing and returning to the idea of it being necessary that you
Right.
for your healing, it's going to be necessary. But I would even go as far as to say in the last 2 years, you've been a lot more open to alternative things. So with that being said, the marriage of Eastern and Western will be in your future.
For sure. And I am 100% open to it because I want to feel better. And it's like I turned 50 and one thing happened, another thing happened, and now it's cancer. And now I'm getting all the mail from AARP and Medicare. And I'm like, whoa, just
I'm
because
jealous.
I moved to Florida does not mean
I've always wanted to be on AARP. I've asked my parents if I could get in somehow. I mean, they have such good deals.
they do.
Once you become a member, can we totally dip in? So I guess
I'll be a member a decade before you. So
that's true.
yes.
That's true. Yes, I can't wait. Anybody listening and you've got AARP, tell me how good it is.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I would say distress tolerance has been increasing. I would say that you're potentially more open to why it's important about having a voice and having structure in your life. And I think that's part of what this cancer has potentially introduced for you. Things that you haven't really thought about structuring before now have to be structured, pivoting in the sense of this is someone who has to work in order to earn a living. And I say like your voice is literally your money maker. So like this is extremely important that this is done correctly and efficiently because you can't be without your money maker.
Right. And the surgeon actually brought it up, and I wasn't even aware that he knew what I did for a living. And he explained in detail, to medical detail, how to protect my vocal cords because my operatic singing voice must retain there as well.
I'm pretty sure he said that that's not going to come out of nowhere if it wasn't already established beforehand.
I'm learning too that, one of the vocal cords is your speaking voice.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
There's another one. I don't even know how many there are, but there's another one that is your yelling and angry voice. And one is a singing voice. So
Like that all has different things in your throat?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Anatomically, I don't understand it yet, but this is what I'm learning.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's news to me.
But yeah, this is my livelihood, so it makes me a little bit more nervous, than if I were a jockey.
I would also say that some of this will be a learning experience for you too to rely on others for your stability in recovery, including me, your business owner. Like co-founder and business colleague to
Absolutely.
rely on me to do certain things that you're not able to help me with during that time of recovery. And I don't want you to worry about it because, of course, I can handle it. But I want to kind of share this in the sense of
Takes a village.
it takes a village. You're going through it and I'm going through it differently, right?
Yeah.
Alongside you.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm so grateful, to have the community. But it continues to bring up a lot for me interpersonally. So I'm trying to journal, I'm trying to write my feelings out because sometimes it's difficult to articulate. Even knowing that I have to lean on people is difficult at times because sometimes I just want to handle everything on my own. And
Well, that's the part I meant.
but that and so many other things, yeah, allowing people to be there for me. So we make this so I can share the journey. We can share the journey of what I'm going through. And hopefully if you're out there and experiencing something similar, tune in with us and even write in and, we'd be happy to
Yeah,
connect
we would
and
love if people want to write in about their own experiences, how life threw you a curveball and how you've managed. Like, who did you rely on? If you had anybody, did you go to therapy? Did you have a therapist? Did you have a community that way? Did you have a support group of some kind? Tara, the same person that found this, has a caregiver support group that she runs. Plus, she has an MS nonprofit, so she is very well versed in chronic illness and autoimmune disease, which sometimes I think Hashimoto's is looked at as
yeah,
not a autoimmune disease, correct? Which is
yeah.
something else that Julie was diagnosed with a few days ago, which will be moot because then they'll take the thyroid out and then there won't be any Hashimoto's. But it explains a lot of things that have been going on for a couple of years that you could have potentially been diagnosed earlier.
The lethargy, the weight gain, there's just been the depression. There's just been
So much.
so much. And
And also, like, I want to highlight that I think women are often dismissed in the medical field when it comes to our conditions, which could also be another podcast. And we could probably have a lot of different guest speakers on that. And I've been on many other people's podcasts to talk about my own experience with that, with my own health conditions in the last 5 years.
yes, you're right. So I think we have a lot of information
Yeah.
that we can impart.
I'll end on, as your best friend and colleague, is I'm really proud of how brave you've been during this entire time. I know how scary it's been. I know how there's been so many things that you've had to release control on that I've been seeing you stretch yourself to manage and cope with, and it's not lost on me the ways in which you're trying to stretch yourself and change. And
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm really proud of you for coming up here during a really busy time of life and to support me and to support Limitless and our businesses. And I think it's just really good that you pushed through it and came up here.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you. You are integral in getting me up here.
I love that word. But thanks for joining us. I'm signing off now.
Thanks, everyone.